It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for season 10 of The Walking Dead. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at some promo images that they released for the upcoming episode of The Walking Dead. This one is for season 10 episode 22, which is the final bonus episode of season 10. This one's called Here's Negan, which will be telling us the Negan backstory. It's taken straight from the comics and the corresponding Here's Negan comic story. So I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of similarities between this episode and pages straight from the comic book. So we're going to take a look at these images and I'm going to break it down. Stay tuned, we'll be right back to talk more about these. Alright, as always, before we get into this, if you're not a subscriber and enjoy the content, consider subscribing to join our community, share and smash the like button and press the bell to be notified when we upload. With that out of the way, let's dive right into it. So the first picture we're going to look at is actually this pretty cool shot of Maggie and Herschel. They're just walking around at Alexandria. This is actually taken from the opening minutes. They actually released the sneak peek for the opening minutes, which I haven't talked about in a video, so I'll talk about it quickly here, but it pretty much starts with this exact scene, with Maggie and Herschel walking around, and they start talking about Maggie's father, Herschel, and that leads to them singing a song. Now, what's very cool and interesting is that they pass right in front of Negan, so that's pretty cool to see. Obviously, we did see Maggie and Negan face to face in 1017 as well, but that was very underwhelming. So hopefully this episode will kind of give us a much more in-depth and fleshed out encounter between them. But even in this sneak peek, what's cool is that Maggie, as she's passing in front of Negan, as she's giving him this kind of death stare, as I call it, she also says hi to Barbara, one of Alexandria residents, who's standing right there next to him, in a way to kind of shove it in Negan's face, you know what I mean? So I thought that was pretty cool. What we end up seeing is Negan is trying to ignore it and trying to not make things more awkward than they are and try to reduce the tension as much as he can. But then the next thing we actually see is Negan with Carol. Carol is actually walking Negan to a cabin. It initially looked like that cabin was the same exact cabin that Daryl and Leah were in, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But anyway, they go inside that cabin and Carol tells Negan that they have banished him and they're sending him away, or that's what she wants Negan to think at least. That way, Carol thinks that this will kind of cool things down between Negan and Maggie. And that's pretty much it in terms of the sneak peek. So let's get back to the images here. We have this image also of Maggie, and then this image of Negan and Carol together. This also connects to the scene in the opening minutes that I talked about. And then we have this picture of Carol and Maggie together. And then we have this pretty awesome shot of Negan with a shovel, with a walker in the background. Now this connects to another sneak peek that they released, where we actually saw Negan digging the ground and coming across none other than Lucille. So this is taken from that scene. And then we have this shot of Negan sitting in front of the fireplace, and then an older Negan, I would say Negan's past self, sitting on a chair with Lucille in hand. Now, this obviously connects to the teasers that they released, where we had Negan looking at his past self, with his past self saying, little pig, let me in." So this shot also connects to that, so that's pretty awesome. And obviously this is gonna be one of the moments that's gonna lead to Negan having those flashbacks. So it's gonna start with Negan hallucinating, seeing his old self in the chair, and from there we're probably gonna see flashbacks that follow. The next picture we're gonna look at is actually a flashback with Negan's wife, Lucille, sitting in some sort of a room. Now, what I'm assuming is happening here is that she's sitting at the doctor's office, and I'm assuming this is where she receives the news about her cancer for the very first time. And then I think this is probably afterwards, after she receives the news as she's going home to Negan. And then we have this pretty awesome shot of Negan playing a game. So he has a controller in hand and he has a headset. So that's pretty cool. For those of you that don't know, Negan's gaming channel is at Lucille is Thirsty. So you can go and check him out if you're interested. It's obviously not a kids friendly channel, but you might enjoy it. I'm obviously kidding, but this is a pretty cool shot of Negan right here. And then we have this shot of Lucille and Negan at a dinner table. I'm assuming this is when Lucille tells Negan about the news of her cancer. Obviously, this is before the fall of society because they're wearing nice clothes and they're eating pretty nice food. So it definitely does appear that this is before the fall of society. We do know that we will see a little bit of Negan and Lucille surviving as the world is falling, but this is probably before that happens, before the fall of society. The next shot is this shot of Lucille, again at the dinner table. And then we have this shot of Negan. Now I'm assuming that he's giving blood here. And I'm assuming that it's also connected to Lucille and her cancer and the fact that Negan wants to help her. And then we have this picture of Negan again. And then this picture of Negan and Lucille. Not too much to say here, but the only thing that I thought was interesting was that Negan is wearing the goggles, or the goggles are on his neck. It's the exact same goggles that we actually see him wearing here. So I'm assuming these two shots are connected. But this is obviously after the fall of society. Maybe not even during the fall because the zombie that's there is really old. Like it's decayed and everything. So I'm assuming this is after some time has passed. After the fall of society. But Negan is approaching the walker. And I'm assuming that that will connect to this picture because in the teasers we have a shot of Negan fighting off a walker. And then Lucille shows up, shoots the walker in the head and saves Negan. And that's where this picture is coming from. So I'm assuming that those two are connected. The next picture is this picture of Negan and Lucille. Obviously, this is during the fall or after the fall of society because they're not eating good food anymore. And they're not in a nice place anymore. Let's just say that. Obviously, Lucille has a wig on, so she has lost her hair as well. And then we have this pretty awesome shot of Negan and Lucille throwing darts and everything. It's a pretty cool shot of them. Obviously, Lucille is holding on to an IV stand, so she's definitely getting some sort of treatment. She's taking in some medicine for her cancer here. And then we have this awesome shot of Negan and Lucille. And then we have this shot of Negan trying to hook up the IV stand that we looked at earlier. And then we have this shot of Negan reading a book to Lucille. And then we have this shot of Negan with a gas canister in hand. Now what's interesting is that we actually saw this exact shot or a similar shot in one of the teasers. And in that breakdown that I did for that teaser, I did mention that this is a great callback to the pilot of The Walking Dead where we had Rick Grimes carrying a gas canister. So I thought that was a pretty cool callback. And also, the awesome thing about it is that we actually see what he's gonna use this for. We do see Negan burning a house to the ground. And that house, I'm assuming, is the exact same bar that we keep seeing in these teasers and trailers. And it's the exact same bar that he's gonna encounter this biker gang that we saw in the sneak peeks and the teasers. The exact same ones that are here. So these are the two members of the bike gang that kidnapped Negan. And then we have this shot of Negan pointing a gun at this guy. This is a new survivor. Obviously, we haven't seen him before, but he is carrying some sort of a sniper rifle, which is interesting. I don't think he's connected to the biker gang. He's a lone survivor, or he may even be part of a group that's trying to see if Negan needs any help or something like that. But I am assuming this is after Lucille dies, and it's when Negan is surviving by himself. And then we have this shot of this new character. Interested to see what he's all about. And then this one of this new character inside some sort of an RV. Now what's very interesting is that in the teaser we actually do see Negan at some sort of an RV campsite. So maybe that's where he encounters this guy right here. The reason I actually mentioned that is because the very first time we saw Negan, he came out of an RV. So it's a great kind of callback in that sense as well. But that's pretty much it. That's all of the pictures that they released. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to share and smash the like button. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe to join our community and press the bell to be notified when we upload. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.